Carbohydrates are the primary energy source for most cells. This is mainly because carbs all have pretty simple structures compared to the other three categories of organic compounds. Yep, I know there are things called complex carbs, but that's a nutritional term meant to compare types of carbs to other types of carbs. All carbohydrates are hydrophilic and water loving. This means that they're really soluble in water, and especially the water part of your blood, which is called plasma. Carbohydrates are used by every single cell in your body, but your liver is really responsible for their anabolism and catabolism. Um, I know the pancreas comes to mind first when you think of carbs, but pancreas is just a manager here, not really a doer. The pancreas tells the liver what to do with carbs by sending hormones of insulin or protein. Did you notice that the chemical formula for a carbohydrate is reflected in their name? Well, notice it now. Carbo, meaning carbon, and hydrate, meaning water. Every carbohydrate is just a water molecule with carbon tacked onto it. Monosaccharides are just monomers. These hexagon and pentagon shapes here are how we represent monosaccharide structures. At each point of these shapes, we assume that there is a carbon atom bonded to these other items that are indicated. We refer to monosaccharides as simple sugars in our diets. Glucose and fructose are really the most common monosaccharides in the human body. But galactose is a close third. In the most simplistic terms, whatever type of carbohydrate you consume, they get broken down to these, which are very easily used in cellular respiration to make ATP. Disaccharides are just two monosaccharides bonded together. So you might look at maltose here. That's it, right there. The two green glucose molecules bonded together and assume that it has twice as much energy as one glucose molecule. Untrue. It has just a little bit more than twice glucose because of the bond that binds these two monosaccharides together. That extra bond adds just a little bit more energy than the two glucose combined. That extra bond also makes disaccharides just a tad bit more difficult to break down during digestion. Speaking of digestion, I'm glad we have lactose here. Lactose, or the lactase enzyme breaks down lactose in dairy products. You either make it or you don't, the enzyme. You either have it or you don't. If you don't, you can't break down this bond. And then this disaccharide lactose passes through your digestive system unchanged. And when it hits the large intestine, from what I understand, that's not good. I do not know personally, but I hear it's not a pleasant experience. Considering that extra bond in a disaccharide, now think of how much extra energy could be in a molecule with tons of glucose monomers strung together, kind of like the picture over here on the right, well, kind of like either of these pictures here. Carbohydrate polymers like this, they're called polysaccharides, and they're usually referred to as complex carbs in a nutritional sense. You can consider them complex just because they're a lot bigger with a lot more bonds. But you could also say that they're more complex for your digestive system to break down. And therefore, it takes longer. Kind of like a time release capsule, slowly releasing glucose and releasing the energy in those bonds into your blood plasma as One by one of these monomers of glucose are torn off, and the energy in those bonds is harvested by hydrolysis. Glycogen is the polysaccharide that you make in your liver when there is excess glucose floating around in your blood plasma. When you get hangry, not hungry, hangry. My husband gets hangry. I have to make him a grilled cheese and shove it at him and say, shut up and eat this. When you get hangry, that glycogen is catabolized, broken down, and the glucose is released into your blood. When you eat animals, you are consuming their glycogen. When you eat plants, you're consuming their polysaccharide, which is called starch. So humans make glycogen, plants make starch, and your liver stores glycogen. Your body breaks down carbohydrates into glucose, which is like the simplest form of sugar, and the main energy source for all your cells. Whether you're running, studying, or just going about your daily tasks, your body needs glucose for energy. We'll talk about some alternate sources, but let's just make it simple. We'll use glucose. Your body can also store glucose in the form of glycogen, which is stored in your muscle and liver. And it can use that glycogen and break it down if you need it later. If you run low on energy during exercise, your body can harvest that glycogen to give you a quick boost. Fiber is a type of carbohydrate that your body cannot digest. However, it is essential for keeping your digestive system healthy. All of you people who have autoimmune diseases like Crohn's, celiac, even psoriatic arthritis, lupus, everybody stand up and raise your hand for digestive system health. Those diseases are hard. They're hard to manage. No matter what, fiber helps prevent constipation. It keeps the intestines clean too, kind of like scraping along 50 years of eating hamburgers from my husband's intestine. This is what keeps me up at night, that he's going to leave me alone because he eats too much red meat. All right. But fiber helps prevent constipation, and it promotes the growth of healthy bacteria in your gut. It also plays a role in lowering the risk of certain diseases like heart disease and diabetes.